Hello, CJ. Good day. It is June 5th, 2025. Happy birthday, Greg. Another son with another birthday. We've got them quite regularly around here. I forget how old Greg is, but he's older than 21. I'm back. Thank you very much for your patience. And just to, if you see stuff on my hands, I was painting, and I got most of it on the decking, and just a little bit on my hands. So if you see the hands with these white speckled spots, we were painting in between, I don't know, a few hundred of the deck spindles or whatever you call those things. So it was inevitable that I would get some on my hands. And I've been known to be a pretty neat painter, but that's pretty tricky. All right, today, this week is first Saturday, on Saturday. So I see, and first Friday. So first Friday and first Saturday, send your confessions if you're participating in that devotion. Also, welcome to any new members. Please hit the usual routine, the like, the share, the notification bell, etc. And today, like I said, is Thursday. We're going to be good for a while. I don't have any plans to go anywhere. I have to get some paperwork done with regards to the court cases. Tomorrow's fasting, free-for-all fasting Friday. And also, if you can give up, I'm trying to think of what the other thing we were giving up. Speaking. Speaking on Friday. Depending on your work, that may or may not be applicable. All right, let's get started with the Good Day Rising prayers, and we'll go from there. I think we'll have Mass right away, and then a short lesson, a continuation of the false opposition. Okay, in the church. It's very interesting how that really plays a role. I didn't think it was as important as it is, and some would consider me opposition. The difference is that we use all church documents and we reject most of the additions that were added on by the infiltrators. So we go back to the original. It's always, when you want to know the meaning of something, you go back to its original intent. A lot of times they do that with the U.S. Constitution, don't they? Well, what was its original intent? And it's the same way with the church. You go back to what the original intent was, because the further back you go, the closer you get to Deum Jesum Christum. Good day. How are you, Liz? All right. So let's get started. I don't want to get on too long with my verbiage. In nomine Deum matronam nostrae, Deum Jesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Trinity, and in Catholic contemplation, humbly venerate the Divine Family. Most Holy and Venerable Trinity, one Divine Family, I believe that Thou art here present. I venerate Thee with the deepest humility. I render to Thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to Thee. O Most Holy Trinity, relying on Thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of Thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Jesum Christum et Deum matronam nostrae. O Most Holy Trinity, I love Thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because Thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of Thee. And I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Most Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven and for the souls in purgatory. O Most Holy Trinity, I most humbly thank Thee for all the favors Thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to Thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in Thy service. I consecrate to Thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by Thy love, or that would not tend to Thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Most Holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O Most Holy Trinity, Thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of Thy grace. Deny me not Thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which Thou forbiddest, to practice the good which Thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please Thee to send me. O Dea Matronum Nostrae, Mother of God, I place myself under Thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of Thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O Most Holy Trinity, as envisioned by St. Lucia as the Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deam Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended Thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell, but most of all because they offend Thee, O Most Holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of Thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Deum Vobiscum, et quoque apotei. Oremus. O Most Holy Trinity, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, granted the souls of Thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with Thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum hanc immaculatum hostium, quam ego indinius famulos tuus offediti Deum meum vivument verum, pro in nomine Debilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentiis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sed et pro omnibus fidelibus catholicorum vivis aquae defunctis, ut mihi edidis proficedat salutem. Deum qui cumulae substantia dignitatem mirabilitur condidis et mirabilis reformaste de nobis periuis atque duenem stadium, eis divinitatis esse consortis communitatis nostrae, fieri dinatis es pater Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Fedimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum de peccatis clementium uducus vetu divina majestatis tuae, pro nostra et totius mundi salute, cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito suscipiam rata Deum Iesum Christum, et sec fiat sacrificium nostrum ec spetutu hodie, uplaciat tibi Deum Matronam Nostrae, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni Sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificite blata prosequendo, et acapere hoc sacrificium tua sancto nomini praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas Sancta Oblationem cum tibi efferimus a memoriam passiones, resurrectionis et ascensiones Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum matronam nostra, et Papa Peter Sanctorum, et Istorum et Omnium Sanctorum, ut illis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem, et illi pro nobis intercedit et in interim caelis, quorum amorem agimus in teis pedium Christum Deum nostrum. Orate ut meum aquestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat per Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis, et laudam et gloriam nominis sui, ad utilitatem quoque nostrum totiusque, ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, quoque apud te, sursum corda habemus ad Deum. Gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te icit oblimentissimi Mater Pater, et Deum Maternum nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus ad petimus. Uti ecce habeas, et sanctificas, haec sanctam sacrificium ilibata. In primis, quae tibia ferimus, pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare custodire ad honore, et regere, digneris, toto orbi terrarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famulorum famulorum tuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering, and we especially pray for Katie Gage, Neil and Earl Lively, Maria Josephina Mose, Robert Dasco Sr. and Jr., Rochelle Dasco, Letitia, Mindy, Clarette, Mark Jr., Barbara and Benedict Santa Croce, Luis Antonio Cantu, Mr. Nobody, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Sarah and Becky, Jenna and Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and Aline Weber family, the Kendrick, Dasco, Shorten, Nye, Tafour, Began, Wolf, and Kane families and their intentions, and Johann Sandman. We pray that Mr. Nobody receives the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value medium of exchange with no usury. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society with courage and forthrightness. We ask for the reversal of the feminist ideology and a return to godly femininity. We ask that all quote-unquote gay marriage, all pornography, and the OnlyFans platform be stopped immediately. We ask that men and women come to understand that raising traditional Catholic families is a very high ideal and a necessity for sustaining a Catholic world, creating one and sustaining one. We ask for the conversion of all sinners trapped in a state of mortal sin, especially the ignorant. We ask that all references to anti-Semitism be removed from all law, codes, rules that the governments and the Jewish judicial system set up or tried to set up. We ask you to also continue to take down the wall that is censorship on the internet that prevents the truth from being available to all faithful followers. We also ask the Most Holy Trinity with this Mass and our rosaries to destroy the satanic document of Vatican law that is the Jewish Talmud, that you destroy Rome and the Vatican and recognize the transfer of the authority of the Catholic Church to Portugal. We ask you to transfer the souls from under the dominion of any Jew or Freemason that gives support to Israel, and to destroy all forms of Freemasonry and tentacles that are everywhere. make their evil deeds come into the light, and bring the members into the submission of the Trinitarian Theophany through correct baptism and confession. We also ask that you bring that Catholic families bring back Catholic morals and Catholic values, that women stop getting cosmetic surgeries, and men and women to stop feeding their money, energy, attention, and time to sports, celebrities, worldly entertainment, worldly vices, etc., and to focus their time and attention to raising Catholic families for the Most Holy Trinity, to save and free the souls of Catholics from the heresies of the Jews. Most Holy Trinity, we ask that all Catholics be given the grace to be accountable, so that we each may have a holy hatred for sensuality, as St. Catherine of Siena encouraged, a repentant shame for the offenses we have committed and continue to commit against thee, and a deep love of thee and of souls, so much that we desire nothing more than to be of service to thee in every moment of our lives. And lastly, please force the world to make the Jews the sole focus of their anger, and please free us Catholics from all financial enslavement to these Jews. Please leave the Jews and Israel unprotected by any government or governmental entities. And thank you for answering our prayers. All this we ask in accordance with the Most Holy Trinity's divine will and intention. Et omnium circumstantium coram tibi fides cognita est nota devotio, pro quibus tibi efferimus, vel qui tibi offrant hoc sacrificium laudis, pro se suis quionibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum, pro spe salutis et calamitatis suae, tibi curedunt vota sua, aeterno Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et mamonum honorantes in primis gloriosae, semper Deum matram nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium tuorum Papa Sancti Petri, et Sancti Luci, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum quorum meritis praecibus, quae cancedas ut in omnibus, protectiones tuae monum et exilio perennium Christum Deum nostrum, promulgatione de Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus, consecratem acceptaveque feceri dignitis ut nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat dictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam paturetur recepit panem sanctus aqua hablis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in calamate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, freget dique luminis sudicens, accipite et mandacate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simini modo postquam ceremonia est accipienser hunc preclarum caricem in sancta aqua hablis manus suas sit in tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Consecrave dedique luminis vidicens accipite et vivite ex ea omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, vestidium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum, haequet est cumque ficeritis in me manifecetis. Unde et memoris Deum nos servitui, sed plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beati passionis nec non et ab inferis resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosa ascensionis offerimus, praeclare maiestati tuae de tuis donis actatis, supra quae provitio ac sereno utur respicieri digneris. Supplices teragamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum iube hec perfere per manus tuum ut quod ex hoc autoris participationis sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum corpus et sanguinem subsenimus omni sanctificatione caeleste gratia Dei per amor per Deum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Lenny Newhouse, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibus in Christum quiscentibus locum refugieri ducis et pacis ut ondora gesta proclamar per Deum Christum Deum nostrum, per cum hec omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est ibi Deum Matram omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea, Matronum nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, sanctam tuum in mulieribus Dea, Matronum nostrae, Matram Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quaesimus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ab omnibus malis, praesentibus et futuris et intercedente beata gloriosa, semper Deum Matronum nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis, da propitias pacem mendibus nostris, ut opi misericordiae tuae aduiti te peccato, simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Per Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apud te. Haecum extiva consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat excipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apud te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum Matronum nostrae, cooperante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinem tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper in hadere mandatis, et atinum cum separare permitas, qui cum eodem Deum Matronum nostrae, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivis et regnam aeternam. Per ceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere praesimo non mihi proveniat in judicium coronationem, sed pro tu pietate prosit mihi ad tutumete vetis corporis et ad avedelam percipiendam, qui vivis et reinas cum Deum Matronum nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem celestem accipiam et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deum Matronum nostrum non sunt dignus, ut intercedete meis in tante diquibus aberranam mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignus, ut intercedete meis in tante diquibus aberranam mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignus, ut intercedete meis in tante diquibus aberranam mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. quid retrobum Deum Iesum Christum per omnibus, quae retrobut mihi, calicem salutaris ecipiam, in nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostri et ab inimicis meis avocero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Coloris sumus Deum Iesum Christum pidimenti capiam et setimum et tempore fi nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum, quod somsi et sanguis quam potave hediat, visceribus meis et praesta, ut in me non remaniat, scelero macula quem pura et sancta refecero sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech you, most holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins, and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, id dimis est. Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium servitutis meae, et praesta ut sacrificium coroculis tuae maestatis in minus autoritibis et acceptabile mique et omnibus, pro quibus idut totalissiti miserante propitiabile per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, matronam et filium et spiritum sanctum, Deum matronam nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Most Holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most Holy Trinity, Deum Matronum Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended. And through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Deum Matronum Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronum Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. So for those of you who are new, I do have a severely autistic son, Ben, and you will see him from time to time wander in and out, and it isn't because he's disrespectful, just because he is unaware. And this is what we believe that parasites do to people. And for those who are new also who don't know about me and parasites, ask any of you guys. Hello, Denise. How are you? Good day. So I just wanted to let you know that it's not a matter of disrespect on his part. And today is a bad day for him. It's the third day after the half moon. The parasites tend to like shift moon cycles. If they feel like they're being attacked during one or the other, if you try to do a cleanse on one or the other, they'll move to a different cycle. It's really quite diabolical. Hello, Scott. How are you? And please, I have patience. I have been away again a few days, so I've got some emails to catch up. Andrew's first. Sorry, Andrew, but I didn't forget you. So in any case, all right, we'll continue with the false opposition. Cardinal Siri pledging allegiance to the conciliar popes. Now, many of you may not have known about this, but it's not that well known amongst the general Catholic population about Cardinal Siri and that whole thing, but this is where we get into it. You can dig into it more. Again, go to the website. There's links, there's videos, there's lots of interesting information there. One variant of the Sede Vacantis is the so-called Sede Impeditist current, which defends the thesis that Cardinal Giuseppe Siri was elected Pope at the conclave of 1958 and took the name of Gregory the 17th. According to this current, as in flow, Siri was obliged to renounce the title, and Angelo Roncalli was elected in his place. The popes who ascended to the Roman pontificate after this election would be nothing but usurpers. Hence, the followers of this theory consider them anti-popes and treat them as such. Afterwards, Siri would have lived his whole life in a terrible oppression and persecution by the anti-popes, his enemies. The theory continues, pretending that at his death, Gregory the 17th named his successor, whose name is not known to the public. To show the lack of reality upon which this theory is based, we post here some photos showing how joyfully and amicably Cardinal Giuseppe Siri dealt with the conciliar popes. And there's pictures there. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is like, when you're convicted in something, all right, you don't go and hang out with those people who you are like opposed to diametrically. Okay, it's just like the joke that Trump said when he was going to put Hillary in jail. Okay, and he's hanging out with her in social activities. Okay, and just like he's really against all the abuses of the children, and yet early on there's lots of photos of him pictured with young girls or at parties where there's young girls, etc. So if you're really convicted in what you do, you don't do that. You don't participate, and you actually stay away from those types, and you're obligated to. Okay, a picture on the website. We see him in close and friendly conversation with John the 23rd at one of the general meetings of the Italian bishops. At right, he appears smiling in a shot with the Pope and Cardinal Lercaro. Then another picture below, first row, Cardinal Siri and Paul VI exchange cordialities on 2 different occasions. Again, second row, Siri is on his knees, pledging allegiance to John Paul I after his election. Then third row left, he pledges allegiance to John Paul II after his election. Then right, at the end of his life, he was still very cordial when meeting the same Pope. Now I get it. There might be instances where you have to meet them, okay, but there's certain things that you can do to make it known that you don't agree with what they're doing. We believe that no serious person can consider these attitudes of Cardinal Siri as those of a prisoner kidnapped from his pontificate and deprived of it by force or some strong moral pressure. Instead, the photos show the normal activities of the Archbishop of Genoa, accepting without any difficulty the validity of the conciliar popes as his normal superiors. The source for that is the traditioninaction.com. Excuse me. Now here's evidence from Novus Ordo Watch. Former FBI consultant claims U.S. intel documents show Cardinal Siri elected Pope Gregory XVII in 1958. Father Charles Roux testifies to irregularities at 1958 conclave. Cardinal Siri speaks, in The Rock of 1967. Siri makes veiled references to a papacy in eclipse. Cardinal Siri speaks, again in the series, in Theologians and the Magisterium, 1980. Siri clarifies the authority of theologians. Findings, arguments, speculations on conclaves of 1958 and 1963. In Cardinal Siri Speaks, again, in The Hour of Peter, he speaks of true and false theologians, drugs, and hallucinogens. And here's St. Francis of Assisi prophecy, quote, Jesus Christ will send them not a true pastor, but a destroyer. Cardinal Siri Speaks, quote, in, quote, does orthodoxy exist, unquote, Siri speaks of orthodoxy and heresy. Again, in Siri Speaks, the infallible ordinary magisterium, Siri speaks of infallibility and the faith. And again, quote, no salvation outside the church. He speaks of this dogma that modernists hate. Cardinal Siri mocks Vatican II's doctrine of collegiality. And again, in Siri Speaks, quote, the election of the Roman pontiff. He speaks of external forces trying to influence the conclave. 1958 article in Milan newspaper mentions smoke signal confusion at 1958 conclave. Cardinal Siri Speaks, quote, the marginalization of the church, and he speaks of secular attacks on the church. Then there's the Father Kramer prediction of 1955. Hindered papal election by means of threats would put church through extended interregnum, immense suffering. Period. Comments on the eclipse of the church and October 26, 1958. Quote, Scortesco burned alive after publishing Vatican Guard information about the 1958 papal election, which got a little rough, unquote. I think that might have been in one of those movies, the Da Vinci ones, maybe. There was a burning of somebody alive. Cardinal Siri influenced by a little brutality. Siri, quote, I am bound by the secret. The secret is horrible. I would have books to write about the different conclaves. Very serious things have taken place, but I can say nothing, unquote. It seems the reason Cardinal Siri was bound by the secret is because he understood that the Rosicrucian cardinals would not have been in the conclave had they not rose up the ranks because of the sins of men who allowed it. Mankind in previous generations failed to supply the priesthood with good men, and this was the result. Do you have any priests in your family? Who else can you blame this on? The reality is, as Siri knew, that this is the punishment allowed by God for the sins of the world. The purpose of this website is to give the information to those remaining traditional Catholics to know how to overcome this in the minority position we find ourselves in today, unquote. And that was freemasonrywatch.org. The hostage Pope Gregory XVII, proven to be another conciliar agent by the photographs above. Again, more pictures of his two-facedness. Although betrayed by his cardinals beginning on the day of his divine election, October 26, 1958 AD, put under constant surveillance, a documented death threat, and having absolutely no temporal arm to turn to for help, Pope Gregory XVII, by a near miraculous occurrence shortly before his quote-unquote unforeseen death on May 2nd, 1989 AD, did perform the proper actions to carry on the true hierarchy, the Petrine mission of the true church. Pope Gregory XVII, although under a constant, fatiguing, strategically inflicted Gethsemane by Satan's Masons, coupled with the more painful, heartbreaking public abandonment by his own cardinals, is shown in a rare published photo openly confronting the fraud Wojtyla. Siri repudiated the acts of anti-Pope John Paul II as an idolatry of apostolic works, unquote. That was from Gary McEwen, The Inner Elite, page 234. Quote, I am the most relentless enemy of communism because it destroys man, destroys the economy, destroys everything. I remember going to Pius XII once, and I saw on his desk, otherwise perfectly empty, 2 books. One was on collegiality. He asked me what I thought about it. Quote, Holiness, throw it out. I read it, and there's nothing good in it, unquote. And there are those who define Rahner as the, quote, #1 theologian, unquote. But I smell errors from far away, and it is a matter of sniffing, unquote. Cardinal Siri, a.k.a. Pope Gregory XVII. That's from the 30 Days magazine, January 17, 1985 AD. Note, during this interview with the Novus Ordo sect-run 30 Days magazine, Siri, the documented hostage pope, asked the interviewer Stefano M. Paci to switch off his tape recorder at certain points during the interview. The interview article was not released publicly by the V2 sect media outlet, 30 Days, until after His Holiness' untimely death on May 2nd, 1989 AD. It's edited. That's by the editor, Mr. Nobody. All right, that's it for today. We'll continue with the false oppositions on Saturday. Tomorrow will be free-for-all fasting Friday. And I don't have my beautiful singing crew with me today, so I'm not going to attempt to do what they can do. All right, thank you for your prayers and your patience, especially during this confusing time. I am a little bit upended. Not sure what's going to be laid out for me in the near future. It just, things seem off, and I'm sure they do to you as well. The weather, the events, activities. I mean, maybe our prayers are working because Italy is really starting to bubble, if you will, with the volcanoes, all the rumblings at Campi Flegrei near Naples and Vesuvius. There's earthquakes and volcanoes all erupting, or awakening, I should say, not erupting, but awakening in Alaska, Kamchatka, all over the place. And the reason I bring those up is just you be aware. You're aware of what's happening, all right? Not that you fear it or you do crazy things. You're just aware, because these are, like I said before, maybe I didn't remember, but how honored are you and I to be living during these times? Please go and sanctify all those who meet. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.